Okay, this is Orlando Wilson, and what I want to talk about in this video is positioning in the vehicle for close protection personnel. Now, I've heard many a time people saying that if you're providing close protection services, you have a driver and the CP guy, the close protection guy, girl, etc., sits in the front passenger seat. The client always goes in the back. You know what? To me, if anybody says you must do something, it's complete and utter BS. Why? Because there are no rules. There's positives and negatives to everything. A lot of it's to do with the environment you're working in, the threat, etc., and also what the client wants. I've dealt with clients over the years that wanted to drive. I'm more than happy with that. If they want to drive, best of luck to them, as long as they're good drivers. So again, you have to be as flexible as possible when you're working with clients. Now, to me, people that say the CP guy, girl, must be sat in the front seat, well, there's positive and negatives. To me, this is not the best place to be. Yeah, the books might say it, everybody might say it, but again, if you're saying this is the place you have to be, if some instructor saying that, I would say I'd question their experience, and I'd say they've done too many courses, read too many books, but they haven't operated in the real world. I've been doing this stuff now over 35 years internationally, so what we teach and what I talk about is from experience. So let's talk about here. Okay, we got the driver, we got the client in the back. What's the negatives of being here? What's the positives? Well, there's not too many positives if you ask me. Yes, we can see what's going on ahead of us, etc., but we can't see the client, we can't see what the client's up to, etc. Now, from a firearms perspective, being here, if I'm deploying a pistol, if I need to use a pistol, yes, I have an arc here, I can reach around behind, but I have a blind spot here. Off to this side is a blind spot. If I close the door, you just push the door too. Now, if this door is closed, if the window is up, for me trying to deploy, shoot behind me, where if anybody's attacking, they're going to be coming from this position, take out the bodyguard first. I've got a blind spot here. The only way I can access, well, I can hit that blind spot is by going weak-handed. Again, as I say in all my videos, you need to be able to shoot strong-handed, weak-handed, and also one-handed. Shooting one-handed is very important. Check my video on guns in vehicles for drivers, and I always say you must make sure when you're shooting one-handed you have a strong grip. If you don't have a strong grip, you hit that pistol, you're going to drop the pistol. Drop the pistol on the floor, it's no good to you. So back to what we're talking about, to engage a target to my rear, it's going to be awkward. And again, we've got this window frame. So the only way to engage a target to my rear is going to be shooting left-handed, weak-handed, and I'm not using conventional, what could be classed as conventional pistol techniques. So that's one of the issues. Again, if you're using armored vehicles, this is another negative. Armored vehicles, you can't return fire, but that's something I'm going to talk about in another video. So as far as pistol work's concerned, you have a blind spot, which I don't like. Now, if you're using a long gun, and this is again, as you should know, this is an AK, it's very limited on what you can do. You've got limited space. Again, if I need to engage off to the side, I'm going to have to go weak-handed. And if you've never shot in vehicles before, if you've not shot in vehicles, the noise, etc., I'm sure how many people are saying, well, it's going to be noisy, etc. Yeah, it is hell of a noisy, especially if you're using a K or a carbine. It's something you're going to have to get used to, and you're going to have to get used to, and you need to practice if you have a driver in the vehicle, shooting past the driver without shooting them. Yes, it's going to be noisy, it's going to be very, very uncomfortable, but your choices are do it or die. You're going to be doing it. And this is something you need to practice. Accessing the weapon, deploying the weapon, and practicing your arcs of fire without shooting the client and without shooting the driver. Okay, let's skip back. So that's the negatives. Well, that's my opinion on being sat in the front passenger seat. Now, I'm all for being sat in the rear seat. Close this door a second. Now, a lot of CP guys will say, a lot of people will say CP guys should not be sat in the back. Let me close so you can see. If I'm sat in the back, it's a lot easier for me to deploy my weapons. I can see clearly what's going on 360 degrees. The client is in the front. I can control the client. If there's an issue, the client can get down in behind the engine block. They've got some cover, especially if we're using unarmored vehicles. Now, as far as the pistol is concerned, I can use this pistol, strong two-handed grip, which is a stronger grip, 360 degrees. So again, it's a lot better for weapon deployment and arcs of fire. If I'm using a carbine, again, it's a lot better for weapon arcs of fire, weapon deployment, etc. But with all this, you have to practice with your weapons and be as flexible as possible. So being sat in the back, better control of the client, and again, 360 degree arcs of fire with no blind spots. Now, M-bus, D-bus. Just step back a bit. Now, as far as M-bus, D-bus is concerned, if I'm coming out of the rear, I can come out, check around, check behind the vehicle, etc. I can see what's going on. As I come around, I'm right-handed, so I'll use the left hand to open the client's door. I can again check around the front of the vehicle, etc. The client can come out. Now, this door can help provide cover to the client coming out. The client here has some protection, especially if this is an armored vehicle. Even if somebody was coming up to attack the client, this door will not go this way. Yeah? So this affords the client more protection. The client comes out, etc. Okay, the doors are closed. We follow along behind. So to me, being sat in the back gives you more advantages for M-bus, D-bus, because as I come out, I can check around the vehicle. The driver should be checking the other side. Client's out. Any issues, the client's back in while they got some cover. If there's an issue, that car can go. We're not worried about the back door being closed. Client's out, I close the doors, and we're back off. So that's where, as I said, for people saying the CP guy must be in the front, there's pros and cons, depends. To me, in any environment where there's a risk, CP guy should be in the back, client should be in the front. So, my perspective. And that comes from experience, not YouTube videos. So, follow me along on social media. We got a lot more of these videos going up. We got a lot of videos up at the moment. Various aspects of close protection business, surveillance, kidnap and ransom. Also, check out my books on Amazon. There's an array of books up there, including crime fiction. And again, follow us along on the blogs. And if you've got any questions, reach out to us. But this is where I say you have to be flexible in the close protection business. There are no set rules. Work out what works for you, what works for the threat, and also what works for the client and what is legal. So that gives you something to think about. In the meantime, be good, stay safe, and stay out of trouble.